Good morning. It is Wednesday. It is January 13th, and I know that today was much later than planned. And so normally we would do these devotions at 10 o'clock. There was some things going on, and I was not able to be here at 10 to do them. So I'm here now, and so I wanted to do them. Instead of just skipping, I know you may not be able to see them live as you normally would, part of your routine. We like to try to stick to that same time frame every day, just so you can plan for it if that's something you'd want to do. But I also know sometimes, things do happen and things change, and so I do apologize for messing up anybody's schedules today, but we wanted to get this to you, and then you can, again, watch it as you can and as you are able to at a later time. I just wanted to still share with you, just a thought for today. And I think it's important. I'm going to get started. I think this is working. I just don't think there's anybody on yet, which is fine. Tonight is Wednesday night, and so we have things at the church that are going on, and I wanted to remind you of what those were. So at 7 o'clock is when everything happens. We have Awana from 7 to 8. We have youth group from 7 to 8. We have adult classes from 7 to 8. You are more than welcome. If you don't have to have signed up for a class. You don't have to have already been in a class. Show up. Figure out. We can help you when you come here, like which class you'd want to join. We can get you in a class this afternoon, and we'll have a great time. So there's a lot of things. So there's multiple classes, and I don't remember all of them that are going on. I believe there is a newcomer class. So if you are new to the church, you're a new believer, you want to start growing, or maybe you're an older believer, but yet you just have never taken those steps to grow and do things and advance in that maturity of that Christian walk. That's fine. You can go to that class. If you just want to brush up on some things, you want to dust some things off, feel free to join that class. We're also doing a class on the deity of God. So if that is something that you've wanted to study and look through and look at what Scripture says and what it means to be God, we're going to talk just briefly about a little bit of that today. But if you wanted to look at that is an option. And then there is a women's class also. So feel free to do that. If you're in age groups from 6th grade through 12th grade. We have youth group at 7. We're starting a new series on unity tonight. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then obviously, like I said, Awana, if you're under 6, so you're in 5th grade or below, there is something for you here too with Awana, learning verses, getting a lesson, and having a good time doing all of those things. So this morning, so Kathy Whitney says, before I get to the verse, I'll just say Renee is saying good morning. Kathy Whitney is on lunch break at work, so she's saying hello to everybody. So glad to be able to get a few people maybe on lunch break or be able to get this done so people can watch it on their lunch break. I think is great. Jeremiah 31 is where I want to read from. We talked yesterday, the wages of sin is death, right? And that there is a payment for our sin, that we need to not forget that. We need to remember that that sin is important, and that it is vital for us to remember that there is a payment required so that we don't become complacent with the sins in our lives. That's what we talked about yesterday. I don't want to get into that again right now. But this morning, in Jeremiah 31, what I want you to see is in verse 3, he says this, and the Lord is talking, Jeremiah is writing down what he declares. But in the middle of verse 3, he says, I have loved you with an everlasting love. Therefore, I have continued my faithfulness to you. You see, when you study out the book of Jeremiah, when you realize what's going on during the book of Jeremiah, you realize that it's not a good time for Israel. It's not a good time for God's people. It's not really a good time for the land. And it's just bad, right? So God is punishing them because they didn't follow they didn't keep their end of the covenant up. They did not obey. They did not pay attention to what was going on. And because of that, there was some punishment. But what God says to them is so important to remember. It's so important to remember. He says, but I have loved you with an everlasting love. I have continued my faithfulness to you. This is so important when you read. I talked a little bit on Monday about lamenting and just about working through issues and struggles. When you read the Psalms, there are some Psalms that really are just crying out and saying, God, we hurt, we're suffering. In Jeremiah's day, especially what he's prophesying here in 31 and talking about this, like, this is going to be a very sad and hard moment for Israel. They are going to be struggling. They are going to be taken away in captivity. They are going to get taken away from their land. They're going to lose their homes. They're going to lose the temple. They're going to lose everything that made them special and unique. They're getting ready to lose it because they did not do what they were supposed to do. But God says, but I'm not going to leave you. I'm not going to forsake you. I'm not going to forget you. I'm going to love you with an everlasting love. And because I've done that, I will continue my faithfulness to you. And he goes on to say, I'm going to rebuild you and do this. And then I'm going to, even longer term, I'm going to set this up as a righteous situation. I'm going to give you an eternal home. And so what I want you to understand this morning, and again, I know it's at a different time, and I know we're kind of compressed here. God, through all of our struggles, as a parent, it pains me when you have to punish your child, when there has to be a pain, when there has to be a suffering. But I always want my kid to know that through this, I'm not going to stop loving them. Through the pain, through the punishment, through the anger, through the frustration, I am not going to stop loving them. Yes, they're going to get, they're going to get something that hurts, right? It's either going to be something taken away or something, maybe it's a physical thing or something to that effect. Something is going to happen. But the reason that is happening is because I'm trying to stop something worse. I'm trying to curb something that is not going to benefit them later on in life. I'm trying to teach them something that they need to learn. And sometimes that requires pain. But what it doesn't mean is that I'm going to stop loving them. It doesn't mean that, but I'm supposed to show God's love to my kids. That's the example, right? That a husband, that a father is supposed to give. Is I'm the example of that. And so what I'm trying to tell my kids is, yes, I know you're experiencing pain. Yes, I know this is hard. Yes, I know it's not what you want. Yes, I know you don't understand. Yes, I know that this is not the way that you would design it. But this is what is best. And now the problem is that I'm human, so there's going to be some areas where I fail and I don't know what is best. The great thing about God is that he's not. He's never going to fail. And it even goes even further. Some of the example that I give as a father to my children, it so much pales in comparison to what God does. Because when I give my children grace, there's a lot of times where then I have to turn around and ask them for grace because I've made a mistake. And I don't know the right way, or I've made a thing, and I'm teaching them that because I want them to see that that's okay to admit that you don't know and that you need help and that maybe you can make mistakes, even as adults, right? So teach them that, but God doesn't do that. So even more so, like when my kids sin against me, when they do something wrong, like when they don't obey me, I'm a broken human giving them rules. They're a broken human trying to follow the rules. And so there's two broken people, and we have to kind of come together and give each other grace and give each other mercy. But God's not broken. God is perfect. And so the fact that he is willing to love us through those things, the fact that he is willing to teach us through those things, should make you just fall down in admiration and love to him. Because he doesn't have to. There is no God makes a mistake, and so then kind of this quid pro quo, you help, forgive me when I make a mistake, and I'll forgive you when you make a mistake. No, God's like, no, I'm perfect. I'm God. I don't do anything wrong, and you doing something wrong is very bad, right? It requires death. There's a payment, but I want to make a way for that to happen. I want to make a way so there is. So he obviously sends his son and does that. And we see that through Jeremiah. He talks about that a lot. But he's saying, I'm going to still love you anyway. That's why we get the verse in Romans where it says, God loved us while we were yet sinners. Through all of the issues, God still loved us, and it should make us just bow down and be thankful. And so this morning, while I don't want us to forget, and I never want us to stray so far away from the pendulum that we forget that sin is important, and it is. There are things in our lives that we need to fix, things that need to be addressed. But I also don't want to swing the other way to thinking that God is an unloving God, because He's not. He's a God of everlasting love, a God of great faithfulness. And He continually gives that to you every time you come to Him. That is His response to everything, is love and faithfulness and goodness and mercy and grace. But we do have to go to Him. We do have to tell Him where we're wrong. We have to explain those things. We have to see where we don't measure up. But it's with love and with faithfulness and grace and mercy that He responds. So I just want to challenge you with you as we go through devotions, and as you hear me speak, I know for sure you're going to hear a lot of things like, we need to fix this. This is wrong. This is bad, right? This is something that we're doing incorrect. And some of those times you're going to walk away and it's going to be upsetting and it's going to be hard and challenging. But never forget, and don't remember that God loves us and that He will love us every time we come to Him. And so that's my challenge to you this morning, and I want you to have that. So let me know if you have questions about tonight, 7 o'clock, everything here at the church. Judy Marsh, I do want to say hi to you because I know you just got on too. So I love you. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.